When most people think of games in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series, they usually think of either the fighting games that were released back in the Dreamcast days, or they think of some of the newer ones like All-Star Battle. However, there were a few games released in between that bunch, namely on the PS2. So today I'm going to take a look at one of them. This is GioGio's Bizarre Adventure for the PlayStation 2. This beat 'em up game that also has a few other styles thrown into the mix basically follows part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It doesn't follow the story 100% and there will be characters that are missing, but the main gist of what goes on in that part is all here. The game is split into chapters, each representing a different fight from the manga, mainly because the anime wasn't made back in 2002. This is great because you get to play as a wide variety of characters and stands, all in completely different situations. This game was only released in Japan, but thankfully some clever people have managed to release a translation patch for it. Even if it wasn't translated, the game is easy enough to understand, and if you've read the manga or watched the anime, then you will pretty much know what to do in certain stages. It can take a little while to get used to, not because the controls are complex, but because they're actually a little bit stiff in places, especially with certain characters and the way that their stands work. You kind of get locked in animations and have to wait for it to play out until you can do something else or you get punched, and it does feel quite slow a lot of the time, even when you're running. There are some cool things to unlock as you play each stage. If you've read the manga or watched the anime again, then you should know what you should be aiming for, and if you do manage to do these things, then you'll play out a little cutscene. Those cutscenes along with the rest of the game's presentation is really good. I'm glad Capcom went with a cel shaded look to the game because it really shows off the artwork. While this has been improved in later games, it looks really clean here. One thing you will notice though if you've watched the anime is that the colours of the characters' clothes and their stands is completely different. It's not that off-putting, and considering that these are meant to be the original colours of these characters, it's pretty much what they're meant to be. Same with the voices, these aren't the same voice actors that we used in the anime later on, so considering that Giorno is meant to be a 15-year-old boy, he genuinely sounds like it in this game compared to what he sounds like in the anime. It's a little bit more believable for his age, but it's also incredibly more annoying. But even though the voice acting is all still in Japanese, you can tell that it's really done with a lot of care and attention. If I had one gripe with this game though, it would definitely be the difficulty. Certain stages are an absolute breeze and require no effort whatsoever. Then there's other stages that are a complete joke and not in the fun way. One of those stages is early on, while you're playing as Fugo inside the mirror. Your controls get flipped, but it's only really the left and right that get flipped, not the up and down, so it takes a little while to get used to. There's a few stages like this that have gimmicks, and they're the main ones that cause me any trouble throughout a playthrough. There's quite a lot of stages to get through, and even when you're done, there is an extra mode afterwards. Here is like a what if scenario mode, where you control different characters for the stages you've already gone through. It's a cool little addition and another way of earning points. You mainly want points because there's a ton of unlockables to get in this game. You've got things like soundtracks, artwork, 3D models, there's a whole bunch to get here. It's definitely a treat for JoJo fans. Overall, for the first JoJo game in 3D, it's not a bad effort. Compared to the Phantom Blood game that came out 4 years after it, I find this one to be a lot more enjoyable, but I think that's just because there's much more that goes on in part 5 than there does in part 1. Either way, if you're a JoJo fan, you should definitely pick this one up, and the Phantom Blood one for your PS2. If you want to know what's going on but haven't read or watched part 5, then get the translated version. If not, you should be easily able to get on with the Japanese one. Anyways, while you look to find this game online, I'm going to go practice my JoJo poses in front of the mirror. I've been Tom from VPG Gaming, thanks for watching and have a great gaming day.